All right, folks, we'll take it into some Cowboys rumors, some from camp, some from outside of camp. First up, is Dallas not excited about Rico Gathers? I'm giving this one 3 stars. The Cowboys didn't come out and outright say it, but read between the lines here when Jason Garrett says the Cowboys have 3 tight ends that they are excited about. Well, if Jeff Swaim, Blake Jarwin, and Dalton Schultz are atop the depth chart, and those are all 3 young tight ends, that means they're not excited about Rico Gathers. And again, here is the exact quote from Jason Garrett. Now, maybe Garrett misspoke, or maybe he forgot about Rico or something, but I think it's pretty clear based on everything that Garrett and the Cowboys front office has said or hinted at. They are not banking on Rico being a factor in this offense. Now, I want Rico to be the starting tight end because that's the best case scenario, is that Rico emerges as that potentially great weapon at tight end for the Cowboys. But with the way the staff is talking, I know you guys aren't going to like to hear it, but I think it's more likely that Rico gets cut than he gets the starting tight end job, and it's not even all that close as we sit right now with camp just underway with non-padded practices to start for the Cowboys. Second rumor, is Jason Garrett not on the hot seat? I know you guys probably didn't like the Rico one. I think you like this one a little bit more. This one is fake news. I know that it comes from Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones says, oh, no, Jason's not on the hot seat, and that he thinks that part of the reason why he's so excited is because of the coaching staff, and I get that on one hand. The quote from Garrett is, no, that's the best answer I can give and the fairest. Our coach and coaching staff are the number one reason that I'm excited about what we have ahead of us this year. I'll make note of this. Well, Jason Garrett's sitting right next to Jerry Jones when he says that. So what is Jerry going to do? Look over at his coach and say, I have no faith in you. You are on the hot seat. Of course Jerry's going to say that he trusts Jason Garrett. And I think the reality is that with what the Cowboys expect, they don't think Garrett will be on the hot seat in the year because they're going to make the playoffs and make a nice deep run. But if and when that doesn't happen, oh yeah, Garrett's job is in jeopardy. I think it is very much, barring injuries, a playoff or bust situation for Garrett and the Cowboys this year. So let me know. Will Garrett be there in 2019? Give me a Y for a yes and an N for a no. I think if the Cowboys miss the playoffs, Garrett's gone. And for some of you, that's more of an at-last moment. All right, back to Earl Thomas. Stephen Jones chimed in with some more updates here for you on the Earl Thomas talk, confirming a report from Jane Slater and disputing one from ESPN about if there have been trade talks since the draft. I'll give it the 3 stars. I don't want to accuse Stephen of lying here, but I also want to make something very clear. Just because they haven't had trade talks since the draft doesn't mean those talks aren't going to resume at some point, potentially in the very near future, because in particular, Stephen Jones' the team is monitoring the situation. He is aware of other things going on with players holding out and whatnot, and as the Cowboys are correct to do, they'd be pretty dumb to not pay attention to it. So there isn't anything really new on the trade talk front, and Earl Thomas continues to try to gain more leverage for the Cowboys, or for himself in contract talks to get a new deal or to be traded. I don't think it's anything more than 2 stars enough to if there will actually be a trade. I am all for it if you can get a second-round pick or less for Earl Thomas. But again, this is all a waiting game on Seattle's end. There's nothing the Cowboys can do beyond offering a first-round pick, which they're just not going to do that. They have to play the waiting game and wait for Seattle to say, okay, we're going to extend Earl Thomas. We're going to allow him to keep holding out for an undetermined period of time. Or, yeah, we're going to trade him. So, as for should, yeah, I'd love to bring him in, but I don't know if that's actually going to be the case for the Cowboys. Visit stayguild.com, folks. Promo code CHATSPORTS for 15% off your next stay when you come to Dallas to watch a Cowboys game. All right, number 4, David Irving. Will he not be punished by the NFL? Well, this one seems to be of the 4-star variety. Now, again, this is not about the suspension for substance abuse policy. That is already a 4-game suspension. This is this is for the domestic violence accusations. He was cleared of the false ones, and the NFL, per Todd Archer, says, hey, there's not going to be any discipline here. Irving is in the clear, no suspension. So good news there for Irving. Hopefully when he comes back from his suspension, he is good to go, locked in, and the immensely talented guy we saw last year when healthy. Speaking of discipline, how about Terrance Williams? This is our 5th rumor of the day here. I'll give this one 3 stars. Stephen Jones says the Cowboys have had no indication that Williams will be suspended or face any discipline after his public intoxication arrest after he well, somebody crashed his car. It was probably Tebow who crashed his car. And I'll give this one 3 stars, though, because we kind of heard the same thing about Zeke last year, right? Wasn't going to be any discipline, so we'll wait until the NFL actually decides it. But I think you're going to see T.Will not be suspended. And in that case, what that means is he's not going to be cut either because the Cowboys won't get out of that guaranteed money that they owe him for this season. Speaking of receivers, is Cole Beasley the most likely player for a camp extension? On one hand, yes. On the other hand, not so much. So we'll give it 2 stars here. Bleacher Report said, okay, who is the most likely player for each team to get an extension? And of the Cowboys free agents in 2019, they're probably right to pick Cole Beasley because, frankly, nobody actually makes sense. You can't extend DeMarcus Lawrence because the franchise had deadline to do so has already passed. You're not going to extend David Irving at this point right now. Cole Beasley's up next there, and then it's Tavon Austin you actually want to see play a little bit, and maybe a backup in a Cam Fleming or a Dayton Jones. So Cole is the most likely guy, but I don't think you'll actually see the Cowboys extend him. So for now, it's 2 heads. He's the most likely, but that's all relative, and he's not actually all that likely to begin with.